Hi guys, Mike here at tabletbuy.com, and we're here today with the comparison between two tablets that are still going to be very popular in the near future. The Asus iPad Transformer Prime over there in the left, and the iPad 2 from Apple over here on the right. Of course, these are kind of different types of devices. This is an Android tablet running Tegra 3. This is an iOS tablet on Apple's A5 processor. This is an older device. It's been launched in early spring 2011. This was launched in late fall 2011. So about 7 to 8 months difference between them, and still this is going to be an interesting comparison if you're looking for a tablet right now just before Christmas and probably in the next couple of months. Okay, so we're going to start with the comparison of the bodies and the screens of these two. Once again, we have the Transformer Prime here. You can see there is a 10.1-inch display with the 16 by 10 resolution aspect ratio actually, and 1280 by 800 pixel resolution. On this one it's a 9.7-inch display, 4 by 3 aspect ratio, and of course 1024 by 768 pixel resolution. So overall this is going to look smoother, crisper, because there is a better pixel density on it. Pretty much same viewing area, pretty much same working area, but because of the better resolution, things look better. Of course, that means the icons are smaller. You can see them compare here, but overall they will look improved. In terms of colors, probably not okay to compare these two right now because they don't have the similar images, but I really like the colors on the new Asus iPad Transformer. Also, the screen seems a little bit brighter, especially since this is an IPS panel, IPS Plus panel, and this is a regular IPS. So you might not actually notice this during everyday use, but if you're going to take these two outside, the screen is a little bit brighter on this one and contrasts a little bit better as well than on the iPad. Still, they're now pretty much on par. While on the previous generation, while the screen was good on the Asus iPad Transformer, it wasn't comparable to the one on the iPad 2. Now it can be comparable. And speaking of colors, you can see that they actually look very nice on this. I'm going to have a similar picture open on both of these a couple of minutes later, and we're going to compare the colors then, so a bit later. Okay, now let's have a look at the exteriors. Both of these devices are fairly light. This one weighs 1.3 pounds, this one is 1.33 pounds. They're also very slim as well, around 0.35 inches for both, but the Asus is just a tad slimmer right now. Of course, on the iPad, probably already know that, glass on the front face with Gorilla Glass, so it's tough. It won't scratch. For instance, I have this since spring, and it's still looking as in the first day. I've been careful with it, but that's still important. The back is made from this matte aluminum, and it actually looks very good, and it has the Apple logo here on the back. On the other side, we have this, the Asus iPad Transformer. Once again, glass completely on the front face, and there's aluminum on the back. This is the darker gray version with a slight purple tint. There will be another lighter colored version of this. It's metallic, but it's not the same. This one is a little bit more sober on the iPad. This is a little bit eccentric with this concentric circles. It's a circular texture on the back. You can see it in action here. It actually looks nice, but might be a bit too extravagant for some of you. On the back on the Asus, you have a camera. There is an 8 megapixel camera with a flash, while on the iPad you probably know that there is a camera. It's placed quite poor here on the corner, and it's very poor. It's less than 1 megapixel camera, which is actually quite bad. Both can shoot clips, only 720p clips on this one, 1080p clips on the Asus iPad Transformer. Taking a quick look on the sides, you can see that the edges on this one, they're a bit sharp. So that means that when holding it like this, you might damage your heart. Sorry, your hand. It would have been awful if it could damage your heart. So it will damage your hand, especially if you have more sensible hands. So I don't know, softer hands. This is why I for one use this with a leather case, and I recommend you to do the same thing. And when the new design of the Asus iPad transformer, they would say they actually copied the iPad a bit, because it's pretty much the same situation here. The edge is not as sharp, not exactly as sharp as on the iPad 2, but it's pretty much the same problem here. You know, holding it like this, it's going to be problematic. Okay, let's have a quick look on the sides. First of all, we're going to start with the Asus iPad Transformer Prime, and what you have here is a microphone, micro SD card over here, which can take up to 32 gigabyte of storage. Let's go ahead and give this away because I think it's not focusing properly. Okay, micro HDMI slot here and the volume rocker. On top you have the power button, and I think that's another microphone here. This is the headphone jack. We have it over here, the headphone jack. I think I'm going to have to get this one away as well. Headphone jack, speaker behind this grill over here, and on the bottom there is this proprietary charging connector and the dock latches. This is used to attach the tablet to the docking station that you probably know already on the for the Asus iPad transformer. On the iPad, nothing actually on this side. So on top you have nothing at all. On the front, of course, you have the physical button that you don't have on the Asus iPad transformer. Front facing camera here, also very poorer than the one on the Asus iPad transformer, which is a 1.2 megapixel camera. Still, it will be okay for video calls. On top you have the headphone jack, microphone I believe here, and this is the power switch, the power button. You have a lock screen switch here, and you have the volume rocker, and okay, not really sure what I just pressed. Okay, and here on the bottom you have the speaker here beneath this grill and the docking station. So you can see that the iPad is more designed as a tablet meant to work vertically, where this is a tablet meant to work horizontally, so in landscape mode. Both have one speaker, so there's one speaker. I think Prime once again copied this from the iPad, and the problem here is on the iPad the speaker, when you're probably going to hold it like this, and if you're holding it like this to have the power button here on your right, at least that's how I hold it, the speaker goes on top, which is okay. It's only one speaker, but it's loud, quality is okay. On this one, going to hold it like this with the camera on top and the Asus logo, and you have the speaker over here on the bottom, which means it's going to be covered by your hand and you're going to obstruct the sound. So while the volume is okay, the quality is not that good, especially if you cover it with your hands like this. And you have only one solution: you can turn the tablet around like this and use it upside down with the camera on the bottom, and this way the speaker gets freely and you won't have such problems. Still, the previous generation Transformer Prime actually used stereo speakers, while this one no longer has stereo speakers. So not really sure why they decided to change this, but I guess that's the way things go here. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue with our video review, and I'm going to open, like I said, that browser, and with the browser on, I'm going to go ahead and find a page. Not really sure what should I. Let's search for stars. And go on images. Okay, let's search here as well. You saw that there are a couple of differences in terms of keyboard layout. Go on images as well, And I don't know, let's open this image on both of them. Okay, there's no way for me to zoom in. Still, I think this should tell you that the screen quality is pretty much similar on both of these. Perhaps we could try another image. I don't know, maybe this one. Yeah, this one. This one. I don't really like this new image carousel from Google. Don't really know how I can get this picture full screen. I can't get to zoom on it. Okay, but you can see that comparing them right now, I would say pretty much same image quality, but I think this one is brighter. Yeah, the screen on this one is a bit brighter. Probably not going to notice this on the camera, but that's how it looks right from here. And they're both at 100%, and we're using Super IPS on this one. Right now we turned on Super IPS and comparable here, but still get the increased resolution you can see over here. Okay, let's go back on homepage. Now, I'm not going to compare these two platforms, it's Android and iOS. There are many clips that compare the two. I will tell you one thing though, because this runs on Tegra 3, it's faster than other Android tablets. So just switching between applications, it's a lot faster right now than on other devices running Honeycomb. And yes, there is Honeycomb on this, it's 3.2.1. Ice Cream Sandwich will come in the near future and will be a bit faster theoretically and will solve a couple of the existing problems. And the problems, they're pretty much similar to what you had on other devices with Honeycomb. It gets a bit sluggish when you have multiple applications running. We don't have that many right now. And of course, sometimes applications tend to get errors, device tends to freeze sometimes. That's something you have to get used with Android. Overall, still, operation is a bit better on this one, on the iPad. For just casual everyday use, I think the iPad is still smoother and runs it's simpler to use by the everyday tablet buyer. Of course, you have the issue with the markets, more applications meant for the iPad on the iPad than on Android devices. You have more games still. Nvidia will offer in their Tegra zone, will offer a lot of games specially meant for Tegra 3 that's going to benefit from the performances that are offered by this platform. Overall, it's really hard to compare the two platforms, Tegra 3 with Apple i5. Theoretically, this should be better if there were applications and OS would be optimized for it, because it's newer and it's more powerful. Has 4 cores. This one has only 2 cores. A CPU with 2 cores. In terms of graphics, tests say that the iPad is still faster than Tegra 3, but once again, not that many applications for Tegra 3, and those tests are not really optimized to use the new Tegra. What's important to know here is that Android feels smoother on this, even on basic applications, so this is definitely an improvement over standard Honeycomb tablets. You have a couple of nice additions. You have power modes, normal, balanced, and economic mode. You can easily adjust things from here, and of course you have the notification system on Android and a couple of these other things that I like. You can customize your home pages, you can add widgets, and before, if you added a lot of widgets on Tegra 2, if you added a lot of widgets, that would severely interfere with the performances of the device. Right now everything runs smoother, so you can add widgets and don't worry that your device will get sluggish. Of course, there are also details about camera, but way better cameras on this one. This one can also run Flash in the browser. There's the entire story. You don't have Flash on Apple. And one thing that I like about Tegra 3 and this particular tablet in special is that you get to run 1080p content. On this one, if you're going to copy the content, you know that you have to copy it via iTunes, and it won't allow you to copy anything above 720p. But 720p's are working. Not all kinds of 720p. For instance, you can't play 720p MKV files, only MP4 and MOVs. But we have here a 720p MOV file, and I'm going to see that it works. It works very nicely. That's how you play it. And of course, because it's not a wide screen, you get all these black spaces here on top and on the bottom. On previous generation Tegra 2 powered Android tablets, such types of content were a problem, but right now I'm going to play this one, and I'm going to use the Dice Player, which is a paid application, but there are others free that will work okay. And this is once again a 720p MOV file. It's not the same as the one over there, but you can see that it plays 720p, which on previous generation they couldn't play such content. And this one can also play 1080p. And I have here the 1080p MOV file. Once again, I'm using Dice Player because the integrated video player doesn't actually support all these types of files. And this is a 1080p MOV file. Once again, a trailer. And it works. You can see it loads faster, and it's actually smooth. And I also have the 1080p MKV, once again, with Dice Player. So this is a 1080p MKV, and it's working. And of course, copying all this content on this device, it's a lot easier because just have to connect your computer, just copy, and of course you can access, if you're in the States at least, you can access content from Google Music, Google Video, rent content. So this is very nice. Plus, another thing, I have a 40 megabits per second file here, and let me see if it's going to work. Yeah, it seems to be working. Sometimes it doesn't work. This is the most, according to specifications from Nvidia, that's the best you're going to get on this device. 1080p 40 megabits per second Blu-ray rips. And this is what we have here. And you can't play this on the iPad. There's no way you can play this kind of content on the iPad. So in terms of multimedia, this is definitely a better pick right now. Battery life, well, they're both pretty much on par right now. Previous generation Asus iPad Transformer lagged a couple of 1 or 2 hours behind the iPad. On average, I would say you have like this. For daily use on the iPad I get like 10 hours. On this Transformer I get like 8 hours, maybe 8-9 hours on the Transformer Prime. Daily use means just a couple of browsing, just a bit of browsing, writing some text, listening to some music, watching some clips, you know, the average stuff you're going to do during the day. Why you get poorer battery life on this? It's mainly because Honeycomb is not really optimized to use all of the 4 cores inside of Tegra 3, and in order to get the best battery life, then you need applications that are optimized to use this platform. So average everyday battery life will get better once Ice Cream Sandwich kicks in. As comparison, if you want to play 720p clip, for instance on this with a 720p MOV clip, you get about 11 hours of running. On this you get about the same 11 hours of running with a 720p MKV clip. That's what I've tested. So pretty much similar. Still, you saw that for multimedia playing you get a better experience on this one because it supports more types of files and because it's a wider display. Of course, on this you also have the docking station. If you're going to connect the docking station to the tablet, together they will give you like 15, even more battery life for watching videos, and around 13 to 14 for everyday use, which is something you're not going to get on the iPad, at least not on this generation iPad. In terms of prices, well, they're pretty much on par. You have the iPad starts at $499, this one starts at $499 as well. The difference, the iPad is a 16 gigabyte Wi-Fi only version for that kind of money. This is a 32 gigabyte version, also with Wi-Fi for that low. So you get twice the amount of memory. Plus you have micro SD, so you can extend the memory. You have micro HDMI, so you can get all this video content out on a bigger display. That's something I should have mentioned when speaking about those videos. On the iPad, you don't really have all this, and if you want to buy accessories, they're going to cost you extra. So this is something that you should like on the Asus iPad Transformer Theoretic. Price-wise, I think it's the better pick right now. Okay. Finally, before wrapping this up, I'm not sure if I could compare these two right now, because like I said, this is an older device, an older platform, while this is just a newly launched device. This is something you're going to buy in 2012, while in 2012 this is going to be replaced with a future generation iPad. So probably the best comparison would be between this and the next iPad, the iPad 3. But for the moment, that's all we can get. If you want to buy a tablet right now, like I said, for Christmas, you have to compare probably these two, because these are the best. This is the iPad, most popular tablet, best sold in the world, and this is, at least in my opinion, the best Android tablet available right now on the market. It's a bit more expensive than the others, so you have to pay extra for it, but you get an improved experience despite having the same operating system. So it's kind of perhaps the better pick in Android's camp if you have the money. And of course, this is the only tablet that can match the iPad in terms of screen, in terms of body size, in terms of weight. So there are a lot of things to like about the Asus iPad Transformer Prime. Personally, if I were to buy something like this, I'm an iPad user. I also had a Transformer, first generation Transformer. If I were to buy one right now, I would probably still go for the iPad, at least for now, because this one is not yet mature. I would wait for the ice cream sandwich to kick in, and for some applications that I use on the iPad that I don't have on Android. And those applications are Twitter, Facebook. You don't have something proper to use on Android right now. And some of the games, there are a couple of the games I play on this one that you're not going to get in similar quality on Android. But probably with Tegra 3 kicking in and more producers offering better tablets, developers would shift towards Android in the near future, and this gap between applications you get for the iPad and applications you get as an Android tablet user will get even smaller. The same happened with the iPhone and Android phones, and right now Android phones are way more popular than the iPhone. I believe in the future similar thing might happen here on tablets as well. But for now, they're very close. It really depends on what you need: an enclosed environment with a lot of apps, or an open environment with some lag, some bugs, and not that many apps. It's up for you to decide. I'm not going to judge this. Okay, so that was it for the comparison. Once again, the Apple iPad 2 and next to it the Asus iPad Transformer Prime. More info will be available in the written comparison that will come on the site on tabletbyte.com. And of course, if you want details about these two devices, you have on our YouTube channel on Gadget Jam. You have clips about the Asus iPad Transformer, a video review, comparison with other tablets, details about the docking station, and of course you have those clips with the iPad 2 and next to it comparison with pretty much all the popular tablets available right now on the market. Okay, that's it for now. Mike at tabletbyte.com. Please subscribe and don't forget to like this clip and others if you enjoy our work. Thanks.